Hello and welcome to Daily Politics. I'm Hamza Idris. There was an altercation in the Green Chamber of the National Assembly on Wednesday between the Speaker of the House, Femi Gbajabiamila, and his deputy, Idris Wase, about their proceedings. Speaker Gbajabiamila had instructed that the agenda for the day be shortened so that members could attend the commissioning of the National Institute of Legislative and Democratic Studies, insisting that the schedule for Thursday should not exceed 2 hours, to end by 2 p.m. to accommodate the event. However, his deputy challenged his decision, expressing that it was unacceptable for the House to waste time on a commissioning ceremony while neglecting its legislative duties. Have a look.
The official commissioning of the permanent site of the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies. Honourable members are invited to the official commissioning of the permanent site of the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies, scheduled as follows. Thursday, 25th May, which is tomorrow, 2:30 p.m. So Chairman, Business and Rules, let's make the order paper light for tomorrow, because we have this, it's very important. The permanent site of NILS is at 2:30, so it'll be good that we close at 2. Yes, sir.
Mr. Speaker, respected colleagues, as we are winding up, we have lost quite a number of period of time. For a commissioning of a project, for God's sake, why do we have to shelve a lot of activity that we have just to go and witness commissioning of a project of NILS? I want to beg, sir, that we should do our functions. Those who have the interest to go to NILS, they have the right to go there. But our main primary and function in this parliament is to make law, and our citizens should be more priority to us, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay. Perhaps DS, you don't.
I was part of those that went for this.
It was set up.
So I have every information and idea as what this
by this same institution, the House, to go to NILS. What I said was, let's try and make it light and leave here by 2. If you want, we can resume at 10. We will do our work, but we will adjourn this House at 2 o'clock. I will witness NILS because it is important to me. So, as I was saying, the second announcement.
Mr. Speaker, sir.
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Sir, the parliament is about us, not about I. Thank you very much.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, this is the first time in history I've been in this House for many years, perhaps even longer than anybody here. This is the first time in history that a Deputy Speaker will be challenging what the Speaker is saying. Let us rise for Aisha Doku's.
I don't understand.
Wow. Well, also, Honorable Ikenga Ugo Chinyere, the spokesperson of the Coalition of United Political Parties, CUPP, along with 62 members elected from various parties, endorsed the Progressive Congress, APC consensus candidate, Honorable Tajuddin Abbas and Honorable Benjamin Kalu, for the positions of Speaker and Deputy Speaker, respectively, ahead of the upcoming 10th National Assembly elections. Imo is the member-elect to represent Ideato South and North in Imo State on the platform of the PDP. He now joins us on the program to expatiate on the motive behind the move to support Abbas and Kalu, among other issues. Honorable, welcome to our studio.
Thank you so much.
We're happy having you. We saw you firing from all angles, on the issue of the speaker. Anyway, you will tell us more.
I didn't fire.
All right.
It's Wase that is firing now.
Good. Viewers, we'll go on a quick break now, and when we return, the conversation commences. Stay with us. Yes, before we go to your issue, the CUPP, you've seen the clip of Speaker Gbajabiamila and his deputy. Actually, they have taken themselves to the market square of sorts.
I don't think there's a market square. This is what Parliament is all about. But I think we'll agree to disagree. But I think there is a line we need to draw between when we want to be adopted as a choosing candidate, and then we end up not getting it, and then we want to put it on somebody, thereby making it look like is a personal issue. What you are seeing is just very simple, and I'm a man that goes straight to hit it on the nail.
Okay.
Wase came in with Femi Gbajabiamila, and you need to understand that it was one John Dye from Benue who represents George Akume that was being touted then as a possible running mate to Femi Gbajabiamila during the time they were campaigning, because they wanted.
This was 2019, yeah.
They wanted to balance the tickets. So you have a Muslim from the south, and then you have a Christian from the north central. But he insisted he wanted to be speaker so that he doesn't want to be deputy. And then last minute later on, they drafted Wase to be the running mate to Femi. So this. They have had a good working relationship from what we see from outside. Now, the whole thing that you see happening is that immediately it was alleged that Femi is supporting. And mind you need to know that Femi is also a member-elect like me. So all of us have a right to decide, just like I'm supporting Benjamin Kalan Abbas. It's my right. So
yeah, we'll get to that, yeah.
So now he decides to pitch his tent with other candidates, and then I feel Wase couldn't handle that. Maybe he had expected that after Femi, he would inherit the
So this altercation, about the commissioning is actually more than myths.
No. It's about a man who felt that he should have inherited the seat of speakership, and then suddenly somebody from somewhere comes on board. And then
but Honorable, what do you expect? I served you as you, the leader, humbly.
That's why I say you're seeing it as a personal thing. You're supposed to serve the country. This is a contest, a game of numbers. And let's make this very clear. Femi has only one vote when we get in on June 13. All of us are going to vote. So Wase should have found a way to speak to members to get them to buy into his project. Even if Femi is going to bring you, does that mean that all of us are going to accept to support you? So
maybe likely because of his pedigree. He's of course one among equals, but you can see while answering Wase, he said, "Look, I'm the oldest member." I think he wanted to emphasize.
No, I think that one is not even the problem. The whole thing you are saying that the needs that he's trying to talk down on is a very critical institutional platform for lawmaking process. They're the one that gives us the intellectual build-up. They're the one that trained us. They're the one that did induction. Even when Wase came, they're the ones. And the
new entrance.
The new entrance. And that's the lawmakers elect, whether you're old or new, you need to be refreshed.
Yes.
And then they have been providing us institutional support. The law that is establishing that was made by the parliament, they are funded by the parliament. And you say that such a great institution that you should not go for the commissioning of their national headquarters, you want to downplay something that we need to elevate because they provide the institutional brain for our work. Just that, because let me explain to you what Wase thought was going to happen, and it's good you know it.
Okay.
With all due respect to him, he felt that maybe Femi should just go to the commissioning process alone and allow him preside today, so that he can change the House rule. That's what they want to do.
Which rule? Okay, they want to change the House rule
for the election. A rule that was made in 2019, printed by December 17, 2020, that went through the process of constitutional process of amendment. And even the constitution has also been amended to recognize the rule as a constitutional document. And then you waited for 2 and 3 years, and then as we are getting to election, you feel that if we go for the voting with the House rule that is in place, your candidate will not win, then you want to change it in 2 hours. And that's why Femi said, let's all go for the inauguration.
Is this an allegation?
No. He wanted to preside.
Some people are cooking that.
Because I know what is going on. So we shouldn't, because, okay, for instance, we have election in 2 weeks.
Yes.
You want to change the House rule just because you feel
it happened in 2015.
I don't know about that one, but you want to change the House rule so they can enable you to have the kind of candidate you want. That is why he's angry with Femi, and he's trying to personalize it. It's not a personal issue.
Well, before we started this program, the last thing I read was that barring last minute change, the greater majority, they call themselves greater majority, and you know them, they will announce Mukhtar Betara and Miriam Onoha, who is from your states, I guess, for Speaker and Deputy Speaker. Have you heard of that also?
Well, as long as I'm concerned, there is no greater majority right now. At the beginning stage, young lawmakers that came in newly like us wanted the opposition to come together to have one strong platform.
Yes, we
That's why
hosted
the
some
whole
of
idea,
the
yes, of the Greater
new,
Came to
yeah,
be. But people have different ulterior motive to gather some people like delegates and student union and use them for whatever they want. When they wanted to engage, bring in all the speakership aspirants, interact with them, discuss with them, and then come to a consensus by general decision. But some people started doing some funny thing. That is why you see they are broken the opposition. I will not lie to you. The opposition is in 3 factions now. So you don't even have a greater majority. So there are different factions. And people have also allowed external politics to also set in. So now what do you have? You have to find like minds to come together so that in the midst of all these commotions, we can be able to ensure that competence and capacity and fairness and inclusive participation is not lost in the process.
Is that what led to what you are championing under
100%, because as I speak to you now, we are at the verge of people who are promoting some selfish interests, trying to turn themselves into Democrats to now hurt more people. And what do I mean by that? I'm not a member of APC, so I don't agree, of course, for years to almost everything they do.
Yes.
But here they put on the table a zoning formula. Something is on the table, which is saying that the South that have not had the Senate president for 24 years should get somebody. The South should have deputy speaker. Though it's not enough, but there's something on the table that have been offered. And then the Northwest will produce the speaker, and so on and so forth. Now, what you do if you don't agree to this and what we've expected, so that we can work with them genuinely, is that we say, okay, because there's an Akpabio here, or there's a Benjamin Kalu, or there is a Tajudeen that you don't like, that we're still going to go to those areas where these positions have been zoned and say, okay, maybe Sati should produce Senate president if you don't want Akpabio. There is Izunaso, he may be backed by Uzodinma or something I may not like. I get him.
Yeah.
But there's an Izunaso, there's an Ojikalo, there's Benjamin, there's Patrick Wambeze. You didn't do that. Or you can say, okay, give them deputy speaker. There's Julius Ihombre, there's different people.
Quite a number, yeah.
The only way this can look genuine and for the interest of the country and stability is that you respect those zoning formulas and then choose your alternative candidate from those areas. But what you have now is that you don't want to respect the zoning formula and the candidate, not because you want stability or unity, but because you have made up your mind that you have your own people that you want to elect. You say you don't want Akpabio, but you want to elect Yari from the same Northwest. And then you want to elect Betera or Wase or any other person from the same yes. So at the end of the day, you now, with all due respect to our Muslim brothers,
yes,
then you now have a Muslim president, a Muslim vice president, a Muslim Senate president, a Muslim speaker.
You think some people are cooking this?
That is the basis of this whole commotion. And I said, if you want people to buy in, if you want the opposition to buy in, if you really want this to be for the interest of fairness, equity, and justice, then when you don't want this, you provide something that is better to what you don't
the option,
want.
Yeah.
But are you not telling me that when they say they don't want Tajudeen and Abbas and they don't want Akpabio, that going towards Yari or going towards Wase or Betera or Jaji is the best option? It is not the best option, and you know
maybe
that.
to you.
Yeah.
To some, it may be the best option.
Maybe to some people who doesn't want inclusion and unity, it may be their best option. And I say we are coming from a background where there's so much national suspicion, where there's no unity, where there's so much religious division, that we need to start closing these gaps so that together we can find how to make Nigeria to work in unity and in strength, other than promoting things that will keep dividing us. And that is the only reason why we said, apart from that, it's important to understand the competence of the candidates in question. I said, I cannot look at Tajudeen Abbas that have moved 74 bills, out of which 21 have been signed into law by the president. And then say, I want to support somebody that I don't know whether he has moved one single motion in the parliament.
But there is this Gagdi who also claimed that he has more bills that have been passed by the president.
No. These things are documented. When I mean documented, if you go to the parliament, these things are institutional. The bills that have been signed in law, let him bring it up. But as long as we're concerned, the other paper honored TJ the other day as the highest lawmaker that has sponsored the highest number of bills in the 9 sessions and had the signing that is 21. So most of these bills, you can know them. Look at Benjamin Kalu, the one that removed the deleted prison and then turned it to correctional centers. And so people know some of these bills that have been signed into law. Those federal medical centers that Tajudeen sponsors their bills, almost in about 15 states that are working today. So when you say you have your own, we should be able to, it's not something that these things are documented. The National Assembly is a strong institution that have documentation. But what I'm saying demonstrating the fact that there's competence here. And you look at the career trajectory of Tajuddin Abbas, from being the marketing manager of British Tobacco Company to being lecturer to senior lecturer to head of Department of Banking and Finance in Kaduna State Polytechnic, and so on and so forth. He has an address. Before he joined politics, became head of chairman of House Committee on Legislative Compliance. Second time he was on solid minerals. This one he was on transport, and so on and so forth. So when you want me to follow another person, you should be able to tell me his trajectory.
Yes,
and it's very important.
Honorable Imo, you are going to the House as a new member, but the way you talk, as if you've been there for maybe 3 times, you are going for the 4th time now. What is actually the secret? What took you there? I mean, to understand the dynamics, the politics, and all that.
No, I think as an advocate for good governance and justice and equity, when you do these things, you definitely will follow the activities of all these arms of government, lawmaking process.
While serving as a spokesperson of CUPP,
even as a lawyer.
All that, or even dreaming, and a human rights lawyer, right?
But as a lawyer, you have to do drafting process, even while you're in school, lawmaking process. Some of these things, you have to learn small, or then when you're in school. And then when you have passion, then you have to go further to study some of those provisions and those laws and process. So that's what helped me. It's something that I have passion, that I want to be involved in representative democracy, in advocating for a fair judiciary that works for everybody and good governance, and so that's why I got to know some of this.
Now you are also, in this sense, I'm not talking about the unionism and all that. You are behaving as if you are a member of the APC.
You see, that's the problem. Each time I take a position, maybe because for over 2 decades, I have taken anti-government positions.
Seriously.
Yes.
And once somebody clicks your name, yes. That is what comes out.
The only thing that should come out from Ikenga's mouth the day he dies is anti-government comment. It's wrong. I took those positions because there was compelling need for me to take. And I have not changed from the way I take position. What happened in this case? I have a zoning formula on a table. And I have TJ Abbas and Benjamin Kalu competent. And I also have inclusion of the Southeast and South-South in that arrangement. And some people say, because you are an advocate for good governance, you are an opposition person, let's break the table. And I said, when we break the table, what are we going to set up with? What are we going to get in return? They said you have a situation that will possibly see the same Northwest or Northwest Northeast having the 2 principal positions in the parliament. And I said that is wrong. And then you talk about voting right. I will also talk about economic right. Both goes together. Let us stop dividing Nigeria. Are we not tired of dividing Nigeria? Let's allow this thing. Let's allow national healing. Let's allow inclusion. I don't think that have turned me into becoming a member of
a conformist
APC. Yes, no.
Are you sure? Because you've been a serious critic of the Buhari administration for 8 years.
Unless you are saying that for the fact that our people was included, and South that have never had Senate President or Speaker for 24 years is getting it. But for the fact that thing came out from APC matter, should burn it down. That's what you're saying, that's how opposition should be done. But I don't think that's how it should be done. Here I'm saying that the people that is objecting should have come with it, because this is an all APC affair. I had expected the members of APC that disagree to give us in opposition a better weapon. And what is that better weapon? Do it to be better than the one that the people that put it on the depot did. But they refused, and they said they want to take it to one side of the country as a way, and I felt there is nothing to fight here. I didn't see any fight here.
Is that why you abandoned the greater majority?
No. The greater majority have been on paper. It has been on paper. In terms of working, some of the members have pledged allegiance to different candidates. I'm a realistic person. I don't hide issues.
But yes. when you address the press, you mention, I mean, the numbers, not really the names, 63 people.
And it's even more than 63. But the why I don't want to talk about this.
But this is a house with 360 members.
No, we're not talking about APC members and all that. We're talking of like minds in the opposition. We're playing around the opposition number. We don't want to be interested in what is going on in
Okay,
APC.
You don't care
we are talking about the numbers we from opposition wants to deliver to decide that we want to take.
Okay, is that because I was really appalled when you mentioned 63? I said,
no, we are 100.
Where is he going, Mr.
In PDP, we are not up to 120.
People?
Labour is 30 something, NNPP is 19, and so on and so forth. So from that opposition is where the people that are with me is 63. And that is a more than huge number when you look at the number and composition of the opposition today. And the most important thing that I want you to take home from this is that I have not changed from my pro-people stance on issues. One.
Some people thought that you have changed even before you were inaugurated.
No, I have not.
You have not changed?
Yeah, I have not changed. But now I'm looking at issues. Whether you like it or not, I'm in government today, and then I'm representing a people from Idato, and they send me with lists of what they want me to bring home. And if I get to National Assembly and I don't take a side that I feel is the right side that will benefit my people, then my people are going to suffer. That does not mean that I'm going to support anti-people programs or decisions.
Yeah.
And the one that is anti-people here is to take the entire presiding position to the north. I don't think it's fair, especially when the APC that you want people to believe I don't like has put something on the table that favors every part of the country. What we need to do is to ensure that it gets more robust, like the issue of North Central that was not taken care of in that zoning arrangement.
Why you didn't convince them to pick your woman? I mean, this Miriam, who is also from Imo State.
I am not, like I said, a member of APC. I don't know about their internal working system, how they arrive at their decision.
All right.
If they wanted a woman, if they wanted her, they would have taken her. And also, you need to know, she's not even a full-time member like they normally classify.
So yours is just to align with the formula that works?
That works for my people. She came in, I think, a year after or thereabouts. She didn't even do induction. This induction is her first induction. So she just
because of the litigations and all that.
Yes, she has not served full 4 times. She can't even meet up with that because by the time she came in, it's almost a year or thereabouts. So, or even more than a year.
So you think she's not qualified?
No, when you talk about
experience,
ranking and experience, I don't think she have that when you have people who have served full term in the race. But that is even inconsequential to me. The most important thing I'm saying is that what is on the table says Tajuddin and Benjamin Kalu and Akpabio and Barrow. If there's an area that needs to be touched, like I said, is the issue of North Central.
That is the question I wanted to ask.
If there's an area that needs to be touched. Now, most people said, why not take the Deputy Senate President and give to the people of North Central? But like I said, it's an APC thing. So what I had expected those opposing inside their own party to do to get public support and commitment of opposition was to say the way this thing was done is not good. We're going to give North Central this. But what are you now trying to do? In your own case, you want to even compound the problem by taking the one they gave to the other side and give everything to this side. Okay, in their case, and give to this side. And I said, no, this is not driven by the quest for justice, inclusion, and fairness.
But you know, Honorable, some people will accuse you of also supporting a certain section. For instance, Tajuddin is coming from Northwest, Kaduna precisely, and Barrow Jibrin from Kano as Deputy Senate President from Northwest. Why you didn't ask them to regurgitate the formula?
And that is why I said that if there is any aspect that needs to be touched, is the issue of you cannot justify why you should have this Deputy Senate President coming from Kano. When the speaker
is from
Kaduna. That even though we in the House of Rep is going to vote for Benjamin Kalu and TJ joint ticket because of the inclusion, but I also want the issue of North Central to be addressed so that they can also have a sense of belonging, but not to the detriment of the Southeast Sasa that have not even presided over this position for over 16 years. That is what I'm saying. So I'm trying a situation whereby I will not even give out the little one we have here to those that have been having it over the years, because after all, North Central have been having Senate President, have Deputy Speaker numerous times, but they must be included since the position is enough. But I know maybe the APC is trying to keep the voting bloc of Northwest together, but that is also not fair. You must find a way to address the issue of North Central, but not with the position of Speaker.
And some are saying ordinarily the speakership should come to the Northwest, but they said it is the handiwork of Gbajabiamila. That is why you can see adversaries all over him, his deputy, Betara, Jaji, and all that. They are all somehow rebelling against him, and they don't really care. They just want to face him head on, despite the fact that they had enormous respect for him.
Yes. Okay. Now, Femi is a member-elect, like I told you.
Yes.
If Femi is supporting somebody, and majority of the members say they don't want the person will not win. But in this case, I don't know who brought TJ Abbas. And I even doubt if it is Femi, because I know some of my colleagues who said they were even the one who went to him to encourage him to run. TJ Abbas.
But I heard that long before, in fact, he never even showed any interest. when Gbajabiamila, secured a campaign office for him at the biggest hotel in Abuja.
That's what I'm saying, that as long as I'm concerned,
yes,
the issue of TJ speakership did not come from Femi. I know the people.
It did not come from me.
I know the people. Even when I was running the election, even when I was running the election, when I emerged,
you are speaking on your honor, because many people said it was at the instance of.
Even when I was running the election, I was not talking with most of the guys who were already in the House already, because I wasn't interested in who becomes speaker.
Oh,
and they were saying they are going to bring and support this guy. So Femi accepting to work with them, he has the right to do that. That is not the issue. Why was he crying? He's crying because he felt Femi is not supporting him. So if Femi is supporting him,
and he expected him to support him
better,
after actually, following him,
I think we should discuss the issue of legislative competence. We should discuss the issue of fairness, equity, balancing, and stability that awaits us at the National Assembly, not who Femi decides to back. If Femi is backing somebody and the person does not have the capacity to deliver as a speaker, the person will not win.
Okay, then what is your take on that, the issue of the competence? How are we going to see a rowdy House of Reps this time around? Because, I don't know, maybe Femi will get another appointment. That is why he's doing what he's doing. He may not likely go back. He will leave Wase and others with Tajuddin. But in the event, he's going back there to sit as floor members with Wase, with Betara, assuming they didn't get it. Are we going to have rancor-free House of Reps?
We expect to see people interest-driven parliament in terms of legislation, oversight, and representation. Now, we don't pray to start fighting, but that does not mean that the principles of separation that is allowed in a democracy and the responsibility that is expected to executive will be allowed for them not to do it, and then we'll go to sleep. There will be robust engagement, all aimed at delivering on the goodies that Nigerian people are expecting. And that is why I said we should focus ourselves on the issues that will make Nigeria to be efficient in terms of restructuring. I discussed those issues extensively with Tajuddin. I said, every year people go to House of Rep, they talk and go, but the key issues that is dividing us, that needs to unite us, nobody wants to touch it. Even when they touch it, they throw it away. That 80%, no, 50% of what they end up resolving does not solve the Nigerian problem. And we must be bold enough to solve those problems. I told you one, we must go back to the local government autonomy issue.
Okay, you mentioned this too.
Yes, we cannot continue knowing that this is an integral part for rural development. And we allow some group of people now, because they are governors, to pocket the money. We must find there is a national challenge. That we must talk about political stability. This issue of rotation of power between North and South is obvious. We don't trust ourselves. So going forward, enact a legislation that will say constitutionally power must rotate between North and South. So everybody can go to.
Are you going to sponsor a deal?
Yes, I have even made a draft of that. And then let us do it even to the extent of the 3 senatorial zones. You can see one senatorial zone dominating because they have the numbers.
Let power rotate. Northwest.
Let power rotate in the senatorial zone for the governorship seats. This zone will go, this zone will go. Every zone have competent people. There's no way you can tell me you come to a particular senatorial zone today in Kano or in Imo, you cannot find somebody who can rule that particular state. This will automatically remove the 40% tension that comes from power rotation. Then we now go to economic restructuring, revenue issues, VAT issues, and so on and so forth. That we have to find the way. Mining rights today. When I was looking at some of the laws the president signed into law, I saw some of them that were very fantastic, like the one on rail, removing it and
from exclusive.
Yes. Now it means that state governors, especially the ones that have the wherewithal and the knowledge, can build intrastate rail system that will serve their people to ease the transport problems they are facing. I saw the one also that they signed on power generation. You know what that means? Remember when Peter Odley built the gas turbine in Omok and so on, they could not connect to the national grid and so on and so forth. With what the president has signed now, this is actually part of the devolution of power and restructuring that people we are talking about. But these are in piecemeal. But you can see with this pattern now, Nigeria will start being effective. So in that case, if I have the capacity to generate energy in any rural area, my state government will give me a license and I'll generate and people will pay and then the place will be efficient.
Fantastic. It's like you have quite a number of bills even before you.
I just hope that they will understand that we will move the direction to touching things that will make Nigeria work. Yes, seriously.
Thank you very much, Honorable. We'll go on a short break for now. Yeah, viewers, don't go away. We'll be back shortly.
Now, as part of efforts to support Africa's goal of strengthening.
Now looking at the activity chart, as you can see right here, a total volume of 130.
Created a Boko Haram crisis that at that time was restricted to Yobe.
How secure are they? You can see security men with blood.
This is the road leading up to the...
Already, if you look at England squad, you are looking at EPL, you are looking at their names. You are not looking at...
Welcome back. If you are just joining, you are watching Daily Politics on Trust TV. Do well to follow us across all our social platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and watch us live on YouTube. I still have Honorable Ikenga Imo Ugo Chinyere, spokesman of the Conference of United Political Parties, CUPP, a member-elect for Edeato South and North constituency of Imo State on the platform of PDP. How did you survive the Labour Party tsunami in the Southeast?
I think my biggest problem was not even Labour Party. It was my second biggest problem. I think my first biggest problem was a rampaging state government that not only that they didn't want me to win, I believe... Yes, that they also wanted my life. So that was, surviving people who are not willing to play by the rule. The most important thing here is that the Labour Party was a challenge that we have accepted because people felt that the way Nigeria has been governed over the years can be governed better. Especially in the East, it was so high because they feel they have been alienated from government, especially in sharing of political position, in progress and so on and so forth, which is some of the things I'm also talking to you about in the present House leadership team, that when you do these things and you think it doesn't matter, it's recording somewhere before you know it will cause problems. That's where a lot of people lost their position because our people felt those in government do not represent them. Those in government have joined, quote and unquote, those who look like their enemies, so therefore they don't want them. That's why anybody that entered the Labour Party, even people that have questionable character, ended up being elected at the end of the day.
Yeah, why you didn't join Labour Party?
No. I'm a member of PDP. I had...
For how long?
I believe PDP was a vehicle that can drive a unity government, even though what is happening there seems to be showing that it's like there's a new, different kind of PDP, different from the PDP of 1999.
Yeah.
So maybe if by now, I may have even joined the Labour Party, but that is not even the problem. The most important thing is that leaders must be fair, because what is causing problem in the PDP is the issue of fairness here and there. People feel they are not being carried along. People feel that just change, whether they are right or wrong. That's why I said when there are such issues, you must address it immediately, because when you allow it to linger, opinion will be completely formed. That's what happened to PDP. That's what Labour Party is getting from. That's what is affecting APC in consolidating in the southeast part of the country. That if you don't address these issues, it becomes a problem. And that's why I feel that leaders must be very sensitive, that let's not start the 10th National Assembly with telling people it does not matter. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
Because you don't agree with APC's zoning formula, then you now do something that later when we sit down and look at it, it is not fair. We must all find a way, despite our religious the differences or political and ethnic differences, to know that there's a country that the only way it can work is that everybody must have a sense of belonging. There's no way you can run it alone. Every component part have what makes them unique. And when you put that together, we're going to be a very great country.
Now, in January this year, you uttered these words. I want to quote them. This is to notify the general public that this may be my last act as a human, as my house in Imukegu, Akoka, is under heavy attack currently. As I pen this, all the cars in my house have been set ablaze, and there is heavy shooting for the past 25 minutes. What really happened?
Nearly.
This was before election, right?
Near January 14th. I can't forget it. Yes, if not because of God, it would have been my last moment. We were invaded before that.
You posted this on Twitter, all your social platforms.
Yeah, that was the few before every network system we had cut off in the house. Now, before that day, it is important you understand that few days after I made a revelation about the compromise of the voter register that had over 3 million fake names in the register. I started receiving
in Imo
threats.
State?
No, all over the country.
All over the country. Where did you get the figures?
Imo from INEC. Imo being the worst hit, which you remember INEC said, yes, we're cleaning it. We've even identified some 33 staff that was involved. INEC did not deny it. But from Imo, I started receiving threats from appointees of the government. You saw one of the recorded...
You are alleged?
No, you saw one of the recorded audio by the governor's essay, Chinasa.
He will take you to court.
Which I released, we're even in court on that, which I released to the public and also petitioned the IG, threatening me that if I come to the state, they will harm me. And I arrived the state. That was December 16 or so. I was attacked, remember. I petitioned. Nobody even did anything. Then January 14, there was another attack. That was the one that led to the bombing. They bombed everything in the house. They raised it down, over 33 vehicles, including that of my supporters and visitors.
Who owns the vehicles?
Most of the vehicles were my own campaign vehicles and so on and so forth.
How did you get them?
People that came for campaign.
Yeah.
You know, it's a campaign period. Supporters were doing rallies. You know, when they come back, everybody pack their car, join me in bus or something, will move.
Okay.
So all those vehicles were completely raised. The houses were burnt. And then they killed my uncle in trying to get
Dan, right?
Yes, perfect, you know him. They slaughtered right in front of the gate. They went after the man, one innocent man that even came for the first time to see me, but because he was wearing a red cap that looks like my father's own, they thought it was my father. They chased him into the OB and killed him right there with the other young man. So they brought so much carnage and destruction. But at the end of the day, we identified from the vehicle that carried the explosive that got, ran into a ditch. We were able to get the number plate, went to vehicle office, got the owners, called the woman. The woman was crying in the hospital. Then I said, madam, please calm down. What's the problem? He said they attacked the husband the day before with a gun. They hit them and all that. The man was in coma and took their vehicle. Worry. So first of all, we made our own, even without being investigators. From our own basic finding, we brought the number plate, the number, the man, the woman, and showed it that the vehicle that carried the explosive came all the way from Owerri. And how did those vehicles pass those military checkpoints? If somebody highly placed in government did not escort it, but the police and the government till today did not even investigate it. Such a strong evidence that points
the police,
to...
You mean your record?
Yes, did not even investigate it. We petitioned, we even did live transmission, we showed it to the journalists, we gave them the plate numbers so that everybody can even go and make, they didn't do anything. We didn't even see the report of all that happened to us. Our people are still in the march, we're not even buried them. So what I'm saying in the fact that it would have been my last moment, but God didn't want it to happen that way.
But with all this, how did you manage to win the election? Did the election even... took place in Imo? Because some people said you people just allocated numbers. Where you have your strength, you just allocate numbers. No, allegedly,
allegedly, the state government allocated number in all the election. It's miracle.
But if they have allocated, why? How did you,
Look at what they do. After the voting, they wait for you at the local government collection center, comes there with a bubag, the state militia, overrun the place, and then write figure. That is why they wrote for 27 House of Assembly seats over 27. I said, no, this is wrong. I fought and we were able to recover 2. And then we're still in court with the other ones. The one that is shocking is that, I don't know whether you've been to Owerri Municipal.
Quite a number, yeah.
Now, in Owerri Municipal, the Beavers accreditation is 14,000 something. And then the young man winning was Labour Party with 5,000 something. Then APC was declared winner. Do you know the number with which APC was declared winner for Owerri Municipal? No. 79,000. 14,000 accredited.
They flogged the...
That is why this kind of magic that happened. That's why I have everywhere in Imo. Now, when I finish, go to INEC IRF, either or not, House of Assembly. The result there is still showing PDP, we won. But APC have the certificate of return.
So you're challenging that in court?
Yes, they felt they can do it and get away with it. But like I said, technology has made these things very easy. If 14,000 was accredited and somebody scores 17,000, not only that you cancel, you arrest him. That person must be a very...
Were your votes untouchable that you were able to...
No, they did. Even with the tampering in some areas. When God is working and people love it because they work so much hard, we targeted every plane. There's even no place we considered opponent stronghold. We went everywhere so that our win can be massive. Even with some areas tampered, it was still not enough that night to be able to torpedo the election. My opponent did not even win his ward and village. Yeah. He couldn't even win one location. So what you now see is that the only area election did not hold was the areas where you have the ESN people that have security challenges. But in all the areas that the election had, we won landslide.
Okay, now Southeast is actually a flashpoint now. And here you are in Abuja with your colleagues. Very soon you will walk into the green chambers. Do you have any plan to address the existential problem in the Southeast?
I think that... It's not, yeah, I think it's existential, politically, economically, security-wise, and so on and so forth. But I have a different view.
Okay.
I feel that we'll start with national healing and reconciliation, the Nnamdi Kanu issue, because this is the most recent that has compounded the problems that have been there before. Now, investments are going away because of the insecurity, which, people used to build so much hotels here and there, especially our brothers in different parts of the world. But you know why they're not building? Because they feel even if you build, who is going to stay there? People are running away. Most villages have been deserted. Some of the other people are no longer living there. So those businesses are dying. Those transport businesses are dying. Most of the buses, if you tell them now to drop something in certain areas, they will not want to go because of the breakdown of law and order. And some of these things are not only by activities of unknown government. There's also political interest group that have armed different groups that is causing problem down there. But to start on a very good note, I will pray and I expect that the incoming administration has a good way of having a handshake across the Niger. Now that the appeal
Buhari has built the bridge already.
Okay. Now that he has built the bridge, now it's time to shake hands across that bridge. Now that you have the appeal court that have ruled that the ongoing trial of Nnamdi Kanu has no basis and he should be given bail, what the government should do is to release him. You can even release him. He can still be.
Will you serve as guarantor? This is somebody who is charged for treason.
I can also. That's why I said we always keep looking at the end product of the confusions we create in this country. We don't go to the foundation. What even led to people listening to Nnamdi Kanu? Is it not the same thing I'm telling you? It's consuming PDP. Cries of injustice, cries of marginalization.
But is that the way to do it?
No, it's not. Hold on. Hold on. We know that there's a problem. Then what we'll do, we'll leave the foundation and then we'll take the reactionary outcome of that problem. And I said, now, we don't blame anybody at this stage that want to move forward. Is that not what we want? Now, most of the things that is contained in that agitation, some can be resolved through restructuring. Some can be resolved through political decision, inclusion. Some can be resolved through engagement. Different things can lead to resolving decision. I said, release him, engage. Okay, for instance, when most of the appointment that was made in the last administration and projects that were cited and so on and so forth, some could have been done better. You agree with me? Some could have been done better. Do you feel it's good? Like, for instance, we stay in this country, there's almost over 15 or 16 paramilitary and security agencies, and you don't find anybody from the Southeast that can head one. It doesn't inspire confidence in the Republic.
For the sake of balance. Yes, but you see, they said politics is about give and take.
Exactly, and that's why I say political leaders should understand that protection of lives and property is the basic essence of governance, as provided under Section 14 of the Constitution. Do you feel faith in your heart that it's okay like this? Do you think that we can reach the Nigeria of our dream with the way it is? If you feel we cannot reach the Nigeria of our dream with the way it is, what you now do is how do we engage? Try to do something. That's why I said, Tinubu, we may not like him, but he first on the table said a South man should be Senate President and a South should be Speaker. If you want to go against that, you must provide something more better than what you put on the table. You see, that's what I want people to understand. And then you say, no, let's crash all of them so that you can go back this way. You don't live down this. You don't know what we're facing. People are losing confidence in government, and they're losing confidence in government people. That's why people can be shot at anyhow. If you have anything that has to look like government while moving around in the East, because they don't believe there's a government. So why do you want it to continue like that? Don't you think that working together that we can be great? And that is why I said, the East is facing multiple attacks from infrastructure decay, from the economic crisis,
almost
from the insecurity.
All sections.
Yes,
you go
and even electoral impunity as well, because we have some kind of leaders that have invaded our land who doesn't want vote to be counted. So everything is under attack. That we believe that having peace is the first step, so that we can engage. And then we can sit down and say, okay, which laws do we need to amend? What do we need to restructure to give inclusion, to provide competition? We'll travel to Dubai, we'll go to America, we'll see the train lines, we'll see the inclusiveness, we'll see the merit system, we enjoy it, we'll comply with it. And then once we land at Nnamdi Azikiwe Airport, the madness sets in. Don't we want our country to be, even like Ghana, that their system seems now to be functioning better than our own?
For how long will you tolerate Tinubu before you start criticizing him the way you bashed Buhari? Especially on the case of Walter Onoge. You were very open.
Say like tolerance now rests in my hand. He has not been sworn in. there's still dispute around.
That's why I said, for how long will you?
Okay, for now,
Yes.
my focus is that I have a job, which is in the parliament.
Before you don't have your job?
That was opposition job. Even I would have started by now analyzing.
Okay.
Now I'm even going to resign very soon as UPP spokesperson.
Yeah.
So I have a job. So when we get into the parliament,
Yes.
he's going to take executive decisions and actions. And then from my parliamentary angle, I will look at that decision, whether it's in tandem with the law, whether it is to the benefit of my people, constitutionalism and democracy, and then I can either support or attack from that angle.
In the event it goes contrary to what you think is right.
You know, what I believe is
what you
against
believe
public
is,
interest.
yeah.
Because of course you should-
and Tajuddin is there, your man that you are working
Yes.
for. Will you challenge him? We want to have it on record. Will you challenge him?
Let me say this clearly. If you go back to the dark days of impunity, doing things against the provisions of the law or things that runs contrary to public interest, my hand will be up. Even when they don't recognize me, you should know that I may have to run towards the direction of this person. He can see me clearly.
So you will
My
remain
voice
your
will be heard.
firebrand.
Yes, it will be. Yes.
I
pray that the renewed hope that was promised, that hope should be renewed. Anything outside renewing that hope, anything that would dampen that hope, I will not support it.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kiangai Imo Ugo Chinyere, spokesperson, Conference of United Political Parties, and member-elect for Ideato South and North Federal Constituency of Imo State, for coming to the program. And we thank you for your informed, nationalistic perspective on some of the issues we brought forward. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
We have to have you again.
Thank you.
And viewers, that's a wrap on today's package. Join us tomorrow for another interesting edition. Bye-bye for now.